Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
That's definitely not the tape you are going to use to show the youth how to play baseball, how to run the bases. What the hell was that crap early on with Kyle Schwarber going to home? He got lucky that the ball drilled him because he should have been out. Nick Castellanos following him up there. Brandon Marsh between him and Dusty Wathan. Yo, fellas, that's garbage. And then Schwarber again later in the baseball game. I can't believe that this team is playing so dumb. I can't believe they are lacking fundamentals to this level. Kyle Schwarber has played too much baseball. Nick Castellanos has played too much baseball. These guys are too deep into their careers to look this out of whack with the basics of this sport. That win that Bryson Stott helped them with yesterday, that's all great and dandy, but poof, it evaporates in my mind. If you win 2 of 3 every series, you're going to be in a good position. Now, unfortunately, they haven't been able to win 2 of 3 in the 2 previous series, but my point is, to a degree, they still did their job, even though I demanded more because of how badly they started the year off. When you let it slip, though, right out of your grasp, a series sweep, I'm not okay with it. I'm not, especially with how it went down. Seranthony putting guys on base. Even before that, with Craig Kimbrell, that made it a little bit closer. Nick Castellanos out in right field, giving the other team outs. Taijuan Walker, guy goes from first to second base. What do you know? Comes around to score, putting guys on for free. Have at it. You don't have to earn anything. You don't actually have to do anything. You don't have to barrel up the baseball by any means. No. Here you go. Please go stand on first base. I'll let you have it. But what do you think's going to happen when you do that 9 times? Think about it. So it was sloppy all across the board. And when you're giving teams free outs, even if you're playing an opponent that blows, this is what happens. These wins, you need to put a bunch together. You have to ride momentum. I thought Bryson Stott's hit would help that. I thought that would be something that this team can rally around and build off of it. So you can head into a series against Miami and plow through them too. So then everyone can start feeling good about themselves. Until you do this. Until you see a 2-run lead evaporate. Stott, of course, gets another game with a couple of hits, but when he gets on and boom follows it up with a huge home run to left field, I was feeling great. Even when Craig Kimbrell got out of it, only allowing 1 run, knowing what I've seen out of him to this point, it could have been 6, it could have been 7, it could have been 12, it could have been 15. Hey, at least it's just 1, I guess. You're up 4-3 with Seranthony Dominguez on the mound. There's criticism right now heading Rob Thompson's way. I've been very vocal about how much he's pissed me off to this point. I acknowledge that Jose Alvarado is on a different level right now. He's playing with this confidence and arrogance that makes no sense. Striking out everybody whenever he's on the mound. With that said, however he managed this game and the buttons he pushed, Connor Brogdon did his job in his role, although he got boned by the blue behind the dish, thought he got out of an inning, ended up having to work in another out because just piss poor umpiring behind the dish. great pitch. And when they showed the graphic of where the ball landed, sometimes it's, hey, the corner barely touched the corner, but it was enough of the plate to call it a strike. The entire baseball was in the bottom left corner. You couldn't get more of the baseball in the strike zone, and he still had to face that adversity. Good for Connor Brogdon. But you could talk about a little something here, a little something there. I'm not saying Rob was perfect by any means. But if you tell me with a one-run lead, Seranthony Dominguez is on the mound with a chance to close it, I can't argue that logic. Seranthony hasn't been great. I think it's more right now of where his body is, more than it is anything else. It's how these players approach the offseason. I don't think he's physically there. Would your counter then be, why would Rob put him in that? He's one of your back-end pieces. That's what it is. You know, I keep saying, well, Jose's your closer. It's 2023. You don't have just a closer, and then that's your everyday guy. You have a combination of arms, and then based off what you feel comfortable with where their batting order is, and it's kind of like matchup based with a collective group of pitchers. I don't hate it as much as others do that Rob got to the ninth with a one-run lead and asked Seranthony to finish the deal. If this team is going to be what we want them to be this year and what we think they are, that's one of Seranthony's spots. That's a spot for Seranthony. He didn't put Connor Brogdon in there. He didn't put some bum in there. He wasn't asking Andrew Bellotti or someone else to go close out a ninth inning. If you want this team to succeed, Seranthony is going to get his number called in those spots, and he has to deliver. I will tell you all the times that I hate a thought by Rob Thompson. Trust me, I haven't been shy this early. I've let it be known a bunch of times. I'm not telling you it's perfect. I think that there's fair criticism. The base running, the free passes, and then Seranthony. Seranthony, figure it out. This team needs you. This team needed this win. And you were poor. Taijuan Walker, he started to fold a bit around the fourth inning. I saw some splitters that I loved, but then command became an issue. Things got a bit tough for him. Pitch count started to rise. Threw a lot of pitches in that fourth inning and, you know, in the later innings of his outing before Rob Thompson pulled him. Walked some guys in his previous outing, too, in his first outing. No panic button being hit for me on Taijuan Walker, but there's no doubt about it. He's got to reach back and give us more, too. See, this is why I'm angry, but I see a trend here with all of the guys. And I guess I sound like a broken record at this point, but when so many of these pitchers look the same to me, it just tells me more about what their focus was before the season began. They have to get themselves out of this by pitching more. The problem is, it's going to cost you games now. And will we forget about these games when it's late August? Probably. There'll probably be another series that gets us very aggravated in July that we focus on a bit more than the early months. Unless, though, they start from behind so badly that it's automatic to kind of stress March, April, May, if it's that disastrous. I don't know. I just know that everything that I was excited about in the second win of this series, when things were very soft, very ugly, very bad, through 8 innings, the 9th inning turned around, and the team showed heart, and you thought that maybe we'd be able to connect with that so we can see a power surge and the team rally together to string a bunch of wins going, so you can see them start to climb in the win column, and they can feed off the energy, they start running into outs at home plate. That play, seriously, with Nick Castellanos was pathetic. It was embarrassing. And same with Schwarber later, and same with Marsh. Between him and Dusty Wathan. Dusty's telling him to go, 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 but then at some point he puts his hands up. Marsh is having his head down. He's just running, and then he stops again. He goes back. He's out by a mile. This stuff can't happen. If it happens once in a blue moon, sort of like errors. Errors happen. You can't run away from that part of the game. It's just about limiting it. Things will happen on the base paths, but you have to limit it. And base running mistakes, I think, is easier to control than errors. Sometimes the ball could take a funny bounce. It's coming back to you hard at the hot corner. Although someone like Edmundo Sosa is going to throw it off one hand, catch it off one hand, throw it, gun it down the first base anyway, and still get the out, which was very important. That one out that Sosa made, not having that base runner on, that was monstrous. But sometimes the ball's going to do certain things out on the field, hit something on the grass, whatever. Errors happen. But base running's more of a thinking aspect of the game. Know what you're going to do when the ball is hit. Lay out every scenario in your head. If it's hitting the corner and I'm on first, can I go first to third? Not first to home. Can I go first to third? The ball's hit to left field. Where can I go? Not in the gap, but just in front. Okay, I know I'm going to second. And I'm probably going to stop there. Just you have to run through the circumstances in your head. But this team, it's a free-for-all. It can't happen as much as it's happening multiple times a game. Schwarber, it's happening to him specifically multiple times in a game. Kyle Schwarber, who do you think you are? Trey Turner with your legs? It kills me. It absolutely kills me. The miscommunication between Wathan and the rest of the guys. It's all these players, right? I mean, when it's a collective group. It's 4 guys, 3 guys. Trey Turner getting picked off on the base paths. Not today, but just in general. How? How is it happening to this degree? Oh, man. And we finally saw something out of Gregory Soto. He threw, I believe, 13 pitches, a good inning. Crisp. You acknowledge that there's the talent that you knew he had. And we've seen it sprinkled in. That's just the process, though, of these pitchers figuring it out through this mini journey as the season begins. They have to iron out the kinks, if you will. And we, unfortunately, had to embrace that with Seranthony Dominguez today. All right. As you can imagine, the phone lines were out of control during the after parts of the game. Now, today was Easter. Happy Easter, everybody. I was out with the family, had to hop around a little bit with the wife's side, and I'm hearing my Google Voice number just bang, bang, bang. I'm like, oh, my God, this is crazy. Can't wait to react to them all. So I appreciate it. If you left your message, definitely not going to be able to get to all of them. But 4 2/3 for Taiwan. 2 earned runs. 5 walk batters. Gross. Top 4 hitters went 2 for 15. Hey, Nick, you ever going to hit a home run? There's been doubles. There's been important walks. Hey, Nick, you ever going to hit a home run? Bohm now has 2. The argument was, between those two, whose home run total do you believe in more? Nick or Bohm? Nick has the pedigree. Bohm doesn't. And my gut was telling me Bohm all the way, and that's why I took it. Hey, Nick, it'd be nice to sprinkle it in. Just saying. The top of the order needs to make more plays. With that said, in this game, on this particular afternoon, the Phillies had a 1-run lead with one of their better relief pitchers, who is a major part of this back-end bullpen. He had the ball in his hands. And between that and your base running, they failed you. Okay, let's hear from you.
Bros, man, I was already putting together my thoughts on the game going into the ninth, and I was going to say, like, hey, we got to figure out this base running thing, but it's not that big a deal. But now it kind of is a big deal, and you got no choice but to look at it and go, what could have been? You know, Seranthony obviously comes out and blows the game, but these kind of things happen. We gotta clean this stuff up, man. Obviously put some more basketballs, but disappointing, very disappointing.
It is a big deal. It is a big deal. I get what you're saying. You win, and the flaws aren't as highlighted. That's why they say in sports that you learn a lot more from losing than you do from winning when there are issues with your team, because you don't put as much emphasis on those details because we still found a way. We still won the game. So what we did clearly wasn't as problematic as you thought. But that's not the case because they've played enough baseball games now. It's not a high percentage, but we're not just talking about 2 games. We're not just talking about 3 games. They have now completed 3 series. And in 3 series, their base running and fundamentals have been piss poor. Just trash. Multiple players, pros that have been in this league for years, everyone. At that point, this is less of managerial decisions and more about what's Rob not doing. Because here's Rob's strengths. The players connect with him. He gives the players the opportunity to be themselves. He's a player's manager. He'll let you work out of some things. He'll give you a longer leash, and I don't hate that. But is there, and I don't know, I'm looking for answers. Maybe this is a far stretch. Maybe this is too much. But these are the type of questions that happen when you aren't performing the way the team needs to perform. Rob's been around baseball a long time. He waited a long time to get a managerial job. Dating back to the Yankees under Joe Girardi, came here. It took an in-season firing for him to get that chance, right? And it worked last year. Is there a sense, though, of too much free range? It's not necessarily a student-teacher vibe because he was not given. He earned the job and a full seasons of work. Like last year, you could say more along the lines of it's a student-teacher type of thing because mid-season he gets the job and all that stuff, right? But it just seemed maybe because of how player-friendly he is, it's too loose. You're seeing issues with Ronald Acuna Jr. in Atlanta. They have more of a hard-nosed manager. And that guy still isn't hustling out in the outfield. We watched it happen during the postseason with one of their biggest stars. So they have more of an older school guy, more of a you better hustle or you're not playing style manager. And one of the best players in the entire league, young superstar, is struggling to connect with that. So I'm not telling you that automatically the other way works. Joe Girardi, even though he's not like a full-on hard ass, he's more in the old school vibe than he is the newer school vibe. He's somewhere in that in-betweener. It kind of felt like there's more harsh managers than Joe, but he does have an old feel to him at the same time. Like I said, I'm just looking for answers here, but is it possible that the reason why they're not as focused and determined on the base paths and with certain things that are happening on the field is it's too loose? There's not enough structure from Rob Thompson. I don't think that's unfair based off of what we're seeing now. You may think Schwarber gets it. Nick gets it. You don't have to drill these players with fundamentals because they're pros. Well, maybe you do. I get why you would think you don't need to, but at some point, if that isn't working, it's time to adjust. And it's time to start drilling it into the team. We'll see where they go from here on that side of things. But yeah, it's important, even if they were to win, to still make sure the nonsense on the base paths were mentioned and discussed and scrutinized.
Two things I need to bring up in terms of the Phillies loss. One, the elephant in the room, Seranthony. I have no idea what the hell's going on with him, but this might be a little dramatic. But it might be to the point where we might have to do with him what we did with Alvarado last year. You know, send him down to the minors for a couple weeks, get him to clear his head because he just can't pitch. He just can't pitch right now. He's on utter liability right now. He does not have anything right now. Two, the base running. I don't know if it's these guys making dumbass decisions by themselves or if Paco and Dusty were giving them awful advice or turning the bases because today in this game, they left about 2 or 3 runs on the board just purely based on their base running.
It's a combination of everything. It's a combination of Dusty. It's a combination of poor communication when running the bases. It's a combination of the players not picking up their heads. It's a combination of not even listening to Dusty Wathan. It's so many variables. When it gets this ugly, it's not just one thing. So they need to look in the mirror from top to bottom, recognize that this is unacceptable, and we demand change. To your first point, though, of Seranthony sending him down, I'm not in send down territory to rebuild somebody. He's not as broken as Jose Alvarado was. I don't think they're physically ready to pitch yet the way we need them to. All of them, really, except for Jose Belay. There's a couple guys. But I think it's more just physical. Like, Alvarado was broken. Alec Boehm was broken in a different season where they had to strip it down and build it back up. They're not in break it down and we need to restructure everything around Seranthony. I just think he needs more time to throw the baseball. You send guys down to rebuild them when they're completely broken. That's not Seranthony's problem at this particular time. Stretching arms, getting guys innings, that's different. Now, what you should want is for opening day, these players to be farther along than where they are. That's a fair knock. But I'm not in send guys down mode. That's a bit premature in my eyes.
I mean, this team is fucking inept. They're feeble. Rob Thompson fucking blows.
Oh, okay. That's all. I'm not going to continue with that call. I can't go to that level of things. I've had my words, okay? I've had my moments. I didn't like the trajectory of where that was going. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the people watching live right now, do you want to hear where that call goes? Or would you like for me to move on to the next one? Because there's a part of me that wonders if maybe he apologizes for how intense that statement was. But there's the other half that feels that it probably went into a mode that I don't agree with and I think is a little too irrational. All right, we have sure, let's hear it. We have I'm curious because of chaos. Why not? Someone goes, sure, why not? I want to hear it. Yes, play it. Okay, it looks like the consensus from the people is we're going to play it. See, I'm a man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let's do this. I got no clue. My gut says apology. My gut says apology. Why? I don't know. I'm naive. It's Easter. Thank you, Jesus.
I mean, this team is fucking inept. They're feeble. Rob Thompson fucking blows. He's awful. I mean, this team, that was the worst base running performance I've ever seen in my life. Their pitching stinks. Seranthony, awful. Taiwan Walker can't find the strike zone. Craig Kimbrell, awful. I mean, this team stinks. This team stinks. Rob Thompson stinks. If this is going to happen for another couple of weeks, Rob Thompson, we're going to be calling for his job. Rob Thompson is on the hot seat, baby. Let's go.
Okay. It wasn't, though, as aggressive as I thought it would go. No apology. Shame on me for thinking that. Rob's not getting fired. Yes, Craig Kimbrell has his disappointing moments, and every time he's in the game, you're on the edge of your seat because of nerves. Yes, Seranthony had a rough one, but no, I don't think Rob Thompson stinks. There's not enough of a sample right now to say he stinks. I've been scratching my head. I've been confused. It seems as if one of the things I was completely frustrated with is getting fixed. Sosa's playing, and by the way, Sosa putting the ball in play, helping you take a lead. Of course he's finding ways to help the squad out. And defensively, boom, over at first. What do you know? That's what you needed to do. So when I saw it for the first time, dude, everyone and their mother can see that the thought process that would help this baseball team the most would be boom over at first and let Sosa get time. Let Sosa play and get constant at-bats. It's better than a left-hander against a right-handed starting pitcher if that left-hander happens to be Cody Clemens. But he didn't go back to that. So he already tweaked that, which you could smell the bullshit of it when he said as intensely as he did that Alec Boehm is our third baseman. And it's like, okay, when you go out and make it sound the way you did, there's a reason why. You don't just do that to do it. So I felt as if it smelled funny. And then he ends up going in a different direction. I don't know what it was, but it seemed aggressive. And when you go out of your way to say it with this authority and say it with this determination, it's like, well, something's going to happen. And I think what they're doing now is playing Boehm over at first more. And the reason why it was stressed so heavily is because at some point they're going to think about moving him back to third base. And when he does, they're going to reflect back to what Rob said. I don't know. That's like the last thing on my mind at this point, though, because there's been so many nightmare scenarios I've watched to this point. So the last thing I care about is how Rob Thompson addressed the media about Boehm playing third, even though now that I'm bringing it back up, I can feel my body getting annoyed, and I can feel that I'm starting to get a little bit hot thinking about it. So maybe we'll take another call, and I'll stop talking now because things are going to go bad.
What an abysmal game. This is why you have to base run. You got thrown out twice at home plate and one set between first and second base. What are we doing? They acted like they didn't care about winning today. And why is Alvarado in the sixth inning and not the ninth? Why are Kimbrell and Seranthony your eighth and ninth pitchers when you know both of them have struggled this year? Alvarado's been your only lockdown reliever and he's pitching in the sixth inning. Another terrible decision by Rob Thompson. Absolutely pathetic. And why wasn't Mundo Sosa in on the grass in the ninth inning? That's a game-ending double play right there. Absolutely pathetic. They deserve to lose. Matt Strom versus Alcantara tomorrow. I can't wait. Can't wait to lose another one.
I got faith in Matt Strom. If I get Matt Strom that I got last time, you're in business. I think Matt Strom's got some swag to him. We'll see what happens against Miami. I thought you were a little harsh on Rob. I don't love Rob today, all right? That's not my stance. But keep in mind, this is how baseball is played in 2023. You have a core group. Jose Alvarado, Gregory Soto, Craig Kimbrell, Seranthony Dominguez. There's 4 guys right now, as I'm jotting it down in front of me here. There's going to be some sort of rotation, combination. It's not a set 7th guy, 8th guy, 9th guy. It's 2023. Things have changed. High leverage spot. Sometimes a higher leverage spot happens in the 7th compared to the 9th. Couple guys on, you need to go to your best reliever. We've seen that in the postseason, things like that. And postseason ball is different. You saw the Yordan Alvarez matchup specifically zoomed in on by Rob with Jose Alvarado. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Game 6, it didn't, and we know the history. Saying that, why'd you use Kimbrel in the 8th? If you can't use Kimbrel in an 8th inning, what's the point of Craig Kimbrel? If you can't use Seranthony in the 9th, what's the point of Seranthony? If you can't use Gregory Soto in an 8th, what's the point of Gregory Soto? I prefer Alvarado right now because of how things are trending. But if these players, if you start looking at it and go, well, we can't use Seranthony, we can't use Craig Kimbrel, we can't use Gregory Soto because we don't trust those, then what do you have? What do you want to do at that point? Because these players are going to get called on. You know what I'm saying? Seranthony does not need to get off this team. That's where we're at with the live viewers. Whew. All right, we will do, I'm looking at the clock. Let's do one more. We'll do one more.
Hey, bros. That was one of the most disappointing games of the season. Just everything combined into one. The team was horrible. The Reds are horrible. But I want to highlight something. Taijuan Walker, if you replace the Reds with any other team, 75% of the teams would tee off of him. He was awful. I don't know if you're going to agree or disagree, but he was terrible today. I don't like the way he was pitching. That splitter, when it misses, it's essentially an 88 mile an hour hanging changeup. I don't like his pitches had no life. He was I'll give him this. He was working hard, but he's just walking guy. He just didn't look great. And it's kind of weird because last year was the exact opposite. He was unbelievable the first couple of months of the season.
So I do disagree that he was terrible. He wasn't good, but he wasn't terrible. The first 3 innings, very solid. Then the 4th started to get a bit shaky, and he lost command. His command wasn't really sharp just in general. But, yeah, I mean, this can't happen. I've seen Taijuan Walker pitch enough in this league to know that he'll turn this thing around. You are correct. In previous years with New York, he was really good in the beginning of the year, and then his first half and second half splits are completely night and day from one another. So we'll kind of see. This is a bit different. He is walking a lot of guys. I don't know if another team is going to absolutely start teeing off, because if you're putting guys on for free, you're missing the strike zone and guys are getting free passes. There were some hittable pitches, and I actually think his splitter is going to wow us more than it doesn't wow us. I think his splitter can be a very gross pitch, and there were a few splitters that I loved in this game that I can see why it is absolutely filthy. But, yeah, he grinded for sure, and this is an unacceptable outing. I'm not okay with this outing, but I thought that, 4 2/3 and 2 earned runs. He didn't let up 5 earned runs. Threw 100-plus pitches. I was a little shocked that Rob gave him the nudge to go back out there, to be honest with you. But, yeah, I mean, sure, terrible. Maybe that's a little bit harsh, but it's closer to terrible than it was acceptable. I don't know if that would be the exact word I would use, but he wasn't good. There's just certain players that I'm willing to look at with the knowledge of, I've seen you when you're locked in. You're going to do good things here. You haven't done good things here yet. You're going to do good things here because you've been good for so long. And while there are cases like Nick Castellanos that you get sold a certain product, they sign a deal, they end up not being that, I feel you're yourself more than you're not. And then you see an example like Zach Wheeler, which was the complete opposite. Wasn't able to stay healthy in New York, comes here, guy's an absolute stud. I think Walker's Walker, middle of your starting rotation pitcher, a good solid number 3. Could be a number 4 if Ranger comes in and shines whenever he's available. And I don't think that's a bad spot for him. He'll fit that role. I promise you that by the end of it. All right, we're done. We're done. We're closing it down. Thank you all. I love you to death. Game tomorrow. See what happens. See you guys then.